Imagine taking the oldest, most brutal action survival story in human history, stripping away all the cheap CGI, and handing it over to the most ambitious filmmaker on the planet. For over 2,800 years, Homer's The Odyssey has stood as the ultimate tale of war, myth, and survival. But when Christopher Nolan announced he was bringing this Greek epic to the big screen using custom IMAX 65mm cameras on the open ocean, the film world went wild. Is this a cinematic masterpiece for the ages? Or did the director finally bite off more than he could chew? Welcome back to Mind Rush Sequence, your ultimate space for deep dives into cinema, visual storytelling, and movie philosophy. Today, we are analyzing Christopher Nolan's 3.5-hour epic, The Odyssey. We're breaking down everything: the plot, the Bronze Age historical realism, the mind-blowing practical effects, the stellar cast, and the massive internet debates surrounding the film's box office performance and casting choices. Let's start with the narrative core. The story picks up right at the blood-soaked conclusion of the Trojan War. After 10 grueling years of siege and sacrifice, Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, sets sail for home to reunite with his wife, Penelope, and his son, Telemachus, who has grown up without ever knowing his father. What should have been a brief voyage across the Aegean turns into a harrowing decade-long trial. Nolan takes us through the most iconic chapters of the epic poem: the suffocating, terrifying encounter with the Cyclops Polyphemus, the enchanting yet deadly spell of Circe, the maddening, fatal song of the Sirens, the claustrophobic nightmare of Scylla and Charybdis, and the agonizing psychological captivity on Calypso's island. Simultaneously, the film maintains a tense parallel storyline in Ithaca. Odysseus's palace has been overrun by the suitors, a ruthless group of arrogant nobles led by Antinous. They are squandering the kingdom's wealth, terrorizing the royal house, and pressuring Penelope to declare her husband dead and choose a new king. What makes Nolan's storytelling structure so effective? Its deliberate pacing. He doesn't rush through these legendary encounters like levels in a video game. Instead, every single island and every obstacle acts as a psychological grinder, slowly eroding the sanity, morale, and humanity of Odysseus and his crew. To understand why this film hits so differently, you have to look at the man behind the camera. Nolan is famous for his obsession with time, gravity, and tangible realism. With The Odyssey, he tackled what might be the greatest technical challenge of his career: how to adapt an ancient mythical tale without falling into the trap of green screens, floating digital characters, and weightless CGI visual effects. Nolan's answer was absolute authenticity. He completely rejected virtual production volumes. He placed the cast and crew on actual wooden vessels in the open Mediterranean, shooting in real ocean storms, under raw sunlight, across locations in Greece, Malta, Italy, and Morocco. When you see waves crashing over the crew, you aren't looking at digital pixels, you are looking at real saltwater. The mythical creatures are handled through massive animatronics, practical prosthetics, and clever camera angles on giant IMAX lenses. The Cyclops Polyphemus doesn't look like a cartoon monster. He feels like a massive, terrifying, physical threat towering inside a dark cave, only by actual fire. The most fascinating dimension of this film is how Nolan anchors the myth in real history. Homer's poem is often treated purely as mythology, but modern archaeology proves that behind these tales lies the real world of the late Bronze Age. Around the 12th century BCE, the Mycenaean civilization. Nolan collaborated with historians to bring this ancient world to life with brutal accuracy. First, consider the aesthetics. Instead of the shiny armor and white marble temples of classical Greece that Hollywood usually recycles, the film immerses us in the rough Mycenaean era. Heavy bronze breastplates, raw bull-hide shields, cyclopean stone fortresses, and sweat-drenched rowers fighting unforgiving currents. Second, Nolan reinterprets the myths through psychological realism and post-traumatic stress disorder. The soldiers returning from Troy are broken men haunted by 10 years of horrific violence. The Cyclops represents the barbarism of extreme isolation, The siren's song isn't just a magical tune, it's a metaphor for exhausted soldiers longing to surrender to death and forgetfulness. Calypso and Circe embody the temptation to escape reality and abandon responsibility. This grounded approach transforms ancient myth into a profoundly human story. The performances across the board elevate this material to another level. Matt Damon gives a career-defining performance as Odysseus. He doesn't play a traditional muscle-bound action hero. He plays a brilliant, battle-weary strategist driven by intellect and tactical cunning. Damon perfectly captures the haunted eyes of a commander, carrying the crushing guilt of every man he loses along the way, and Hathaway brings immense poise and quiet strength to Penelope. She isn't a passive queen weeping at a loom. She's a sharp political mind maneuvering through a court full of armed predators vying for her crown. Tom Holland delivers a heartbreakingly authentic performance as Telemachus, capturing the lost innocence of a young man forced to grow up in the shadow of a legendary father he never knew. Robert Pattinson shines as the villainous Antinous, exuding a charismatic, toxic, and terrifying presence that makes the palace scenes in Ithaca feel like a high-stakes political thriller. The supporting cast, including Zendaya as a subtle, ethereal Athena, Charlize Theron as Calypso, Samantha Morton as Circe, Lupita Nyong'o, and John Bernthal adds incredible dramatic weight to every scene. From a technical standpoint, the film is a masterclass. Hoyt van Hoytma's cinematography using custom IMAX 65mm cameras creates a sense of scale and depth that leaves you breathless. The contrast between wide, blinding ocean horizons and tight, claustrophobic close-ups on the actors' faces creates a visceral sense of seasickness and raw tension. Meanwhile, Ludwig Göransson's musical score avoids traditional, romantic Hollywood orchestral tropes. He relies instead on ancient wind instruments, heavy percussion that mimics the rhythmic pounding of oars, and eerie, atmospheric sound design that makes the ocean feel alive and hostile. Naturally, a project of this magnitude ignited massive discussions online, at the box office, and inside movie theaters. Experiencing this film in an IMAX theater has been nothing short of electric. Opening weekend audiences reported dead silence during the terrifying, claustrophobic Cyclops sequence, followed by explosive applause during the climax in Ithaca. Premium large format tickets sold out months in advance, breaking pre-sale records for Nolan's filmography online. However, the film sparked fierce debates across Reddit, X, and TikTok. The biggest point of contention was the casting choices. A vocal segment of moviegoers questioned why more Greek actors weren't cast for the lead roles in one of the foundational stories of Western literature. Additionally, choices regarding the diverse supporting cast generated heated internet discourse surrounding historical accuracy versus artistic freedom. Other purists criticized the use of slightly modernized dialogue, though top film critics praised Nolan for avoiding stiff, outdated theatrical tropes. Yet, despite the online debates, or perhaps because of them, the film has been an absolute juggernaut at the box office. Against a massive production budget of $250 million, the Odyssey dominated the global box office, pulling in hundreds of millions within its first few weeks. It proves once again that global audiences are hungry for original, challenging, large-scale event cinema that demands to be seen on the biggest screen possible. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is more than just a summer blockbuster. It is a cinematic event that bridges 3,000 years of storytelling with the cutting edge of modern filmmaking. Here on Mind Rush Sequence, we give The Odyssey a glowing 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now, I want to hear from all of you. What did you think of Christopher Nolan's take on this legendary myth? Did Matt Damon sell you as Odysseus? Or did you envision someone else in the role? How do you feel about Nolan using real-world Bronze Age history, Eden of classic Hollywood fantasy? And where do you rank this film among Nolan's absolute best works, like Interstellar or Oppenheimer? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read and reply to as many as I can. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, Share the video with your fellow movie lovers. And don't forget to subscribe to Mind Rush Sequence so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next sequence.
Subscribe for a mind rush.